Hi, welcome to this Yin Yoga class designed especially for childbirth. Let's begin our practice with a guided meditation. Settle your body into a comfortable position in a chair or on a cushion on the floor. Feel the points of contact between the backs of your thighs, your buttocks, and whatever you are sitting on. Allow your spine to lift upward from your lower back, letting it be straight but not rigid. Let the crown of your head rise upward toward the ceiling and the sky above. You can tilt the chin ever so slightly down and toward the chest, opening space in the back of the neck and allowing the head to balance. Let your shoulders drop away from the ears and gently slide your shoulder blades down your back, opening the chest. Your arms hang loosely, finding a resting place on your lap, thighs, or knees, palms facing up or down. If you're well along in your pregnancy, feel free to modify these instructions as needed, even if that includes lying on your side. Your comfort is more important than any posture. Once settled in a comfortable position, bring your attention to the sensations of breathing. Wherever you feel them most vividly in your body, at the belly, as it rises on the inhalation and falls on the exhalation, at the nostrils, as air passes in and out, at the chest, feeling the lungs and ribcage expanding and releasing. Wherever you choose to pay attention to the sensations of breathing, allow your attention to rest there as best you can, moment by moment, without changing, fixing, or judging. Allow the breath to come and go all on its own, moment by moment. If at any time during this practice you feel the baby moving inside your belly, allow your attention to shift to those sensations, feeling the movements of the baby within and the movements of the breath at your belly. You can bring your hands to your belly. When the mind wanders away, just bring it back. Just be here, breath by breath, in this present moment. Now let's begin a relaxation pranayama. Place your hands across the top of your abdomen so the fingers barely meet. Exhale and completely clear the lungs and nasal passages. Slowly begin breathing in, counting 1, 2, 3. Continue counting until your belly is completely inflated and you feel full. Then slowly exhale at the same pace. Without holding your breath, keep the body still and limp. Visualize your abdomen as a bowl that your baby is resting in. The rest of your body is relaxed and still while breathing up and in and out and down. Allow the shoulders to droop down into the frame of your body. Breathe your body down into deeper relaxation. Release all tension and completely let go. Give breath to your baby, gently and slowly. Continue to breathe at your own pace for a few more minutes. Try to practice this each night before falling asleep. That way, when you're actually in labor, you'll be well practiced at this relaxation pranayama. As we move from pranayama into more of movement in the Yin Yoga tradition, keep in mind the intention of this practice. It's not to go further or to push harder, but to relax more, to stimulate meridian lines and send qi through the body, and especially to the baby. During pregnancy, it's important to closely listen to your intuition whenever something doesn't feel right. Feel free to use bolsters or props. If your belly's squishing into the floor on any of these poses and you feel uncomfortable, then please come out of it. Feel free to go back to a pose that you were comfortable in, or just sit with your breath. Now let's come into our first pose, butterfly pose. By putting the soles of your feet together in front of your pelvis, you can extend them as far forward as you'd like. Inhale, lift your arms up. And exhale, come down, placing your hands on your knees, the floor in front of you, or open them wider to feel more supported. Take a nice deep breath and find a place of stillness while here. Of all the poses we will do in today's Yin Yoga practice, this is one of the most beneficial for childbirth. Allow your hips to open, your hamstrings to stretch, and in every pose, come back to the mindfulness that we created at the beginning of this session. Breathing in and breathing out. Find a place of stillness and rest in this pose so that the meridian lines have time to get stimulated. We'll now come out of butterfly pose. Use your hands to push the floor away and slowly roll up. You can straighten your legs to get some relief to your hips. Lean back on your hands. Straighten each leg before coming into square pose. Either with your legs loosely cross-legged, one leg in front of the other, or with your shins stacked up, we will make a triangle with the lower part of the body and the legs. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, walk your hands out in front of you, just like we did in the last pose. Take a deep breath in, and exhale, release down into the pose. If this pose is feeling too intense, feel free to keep your spine upright. You can always sit on a cushion as well. If the knees are still high away from the floor, feel free to place blankets under them. We won't stay in this pose for long, so go ahead and come out and switch your leg position. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, come back down. If you're feeling quite a bit of stress in the hips or the knees, simply sit cross-legged with your spine stretching up towards the ceiling. You'll get the same benefits. Always come back to the mindful practice that we began in the beginning. Inhaling and exhaling, releasing any tension, any tightness, and just letting go. Now walk your hands up, placing your hands behind you. Extend your spine towards the sky and open your legs. Now we'll move into half butterfly pose. From a seated position, draw one foot in towards you and stretch the other leg out. You can reach your arms and your hands towards the extended foot. If you're quite flexible, you can bend the leg behind you and then come back down again towards the extended foot. Reaching the opposite hand to the extended foot. This opens up the entire side body, stimulating the liver and kidneys. The version we're doing here on the video is quite an advanced pose. Perhaps you'd rather lean forward with your belly down towards your leg and aiming out towards your foot. Either way, find the pose that works for you. Find your breath. On the next inhale, we'll release that. Use your hands to walk your upper body up, and we'll switch sides. So draw one foot in towards you and stretch the other leg out. Allow your side to stretch, bringing both arms over towards your foot. If you'd like, you can bend the leg behind you and then stretch down towards the foot again. As mentioned before, we're not trying to strive for new poses. We have a lot of a hormone called relaxin in our body, so we don't want to take it too far. The point is to relax and to release. Bring your mind and your focus onto your breath and to the sensations of the body. Feel new blood and chi circulating through the body. Now release with the arms, and with your hands walk yourself up, both legs open. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, extend forward just to get a nice release. Moving the upper body to the left and the right. Or even better, listen to your body. Is it telling you to do something special? Move in a certain way? Now we'll begin transitioning into dragon pose, a deep hip and groin opener. Begin either on your hands or your knees or in downward dog. Step one foot between the hands. Walk the front foot forward until the knee is right above the heel. Slide the back knee backwards and feel free to put a cushion or a bolster under that back knee. If that's not enough of a stretch, You can bring that knee off the ground as I'm doing here. Now, you can bring your hands wherever is comfortable here. If this is too much, bring that knee back down and relax the ankle. This stretches the back legs, hip flexors, and quadriceps, is a deep release of the psoas muscles in the front of the thigh. There are many variations to get the same effect here. So play with this to find one that works best for you. It's not comfortable for most people, and it's really important to find the position and a comfort that works for you. We'll only stay here for 1 minute before we come out. So you can bring your legs back together towards downward dog pose, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So once again, bring the opposite leg forward, walk the back leg back. You can put a bolster or a cushion under that knee if you choose to. Find the position that works for you, and then we'll try to find a moment of stillness in the pose. Concentrating on the breath, in and out. And finding a moment of stillness and relaxing despite the uncomfortable sensations we might be feeling in the body. Now come out of it by stepping back into downward dog. Start by standing with the feet hip-width apart. Squat down and bring your arms in front of you, hands in prayer, and elbows pulling lightly against the knees or shins. If your heels are off the floor, you can place a folded blanket or bolster under them. We want the body to relax. Watch the knees and make sure there's not too much pressure here. You can always come out of it and actually sit on a cushion to make it a more relaxing pose. This is the pose for childbirth in many yogic traditions. It's a great pose to prepare the body for childbirth. Releases the lower back, opens the hips, and strengthens the ankles. If I could recommend any pose to do every day through your pregnancy, this pose would be it. To come out of this pose, sit down and slowly straighten the legs out in front of you. Next, let's move into Swan pose. The first variation will be laying on our back, and we'll do thread the needle. So bring your right foot on top of your left knee, reach through the hole of your legs, and wrap around your left thigh. You can stay just like this, or if you'd like to go further, we'll do another variation. You can come into this pose either from downward dog or from cat pose on hands and knees. Slide your right knee between your hands, lean a bit to the right, and check in how your right knee is going to feel. If the knee is fine, flex the foot right and move it forward. If the knee feels stressed, bring the foot closer in toward the right hip. Now, center yourself so your weight is even. Try tucking the back toes under and sliding the back knee away. Do this a few times until your right buttock is on the floor or as low as it's going to get. You can come down, either holding your chest upright, lengthening through the spine, or coming down, rounding the spine and leaning on your elbows or your hands, whatever's comfortable for you. This is a vigorous way to open the hips and allows gravity to do most of the work. So we need to have a lot of caution and care. This brings a lot of blood flow to the pubic region, of course, making it especially helpful for childbirth. Like the other poses, to come out, use your hands to push away from the floor. Tuck your toes under. Move back into downward dog. Or just move your body around to the other side. With your leg bent in front of you, come down to a place where you can rest in stillness. Bring your attention back to your breath. We're stimulating the liver, kidney, stomach, spleen, gallbladder, and urinary bladder lines while in this pose. It can be quite intense, so please take it with caution. Fine. Now use your hands to lift your upper body up and come out of this pose however is most natural for you. Next, we'll be moving into Sphinx pose. So from your hands and knees, bring your chest forward and straighten your arms. Of course, being pregnant, you don't want to push your belly into the ground, so you can always use bolsters under the pelvis or the hands to lift yourself up and make sure that your belly has room. This can be a deep compression and stimulation of the sacral lumbar arch between the L2 and L3 vertebrae. That's where in traditional Chinese medicine they believe the door of life or Jing energy is housed. You're giving the kidney meridian a nice squeeze before we go into our counter pose, child's pose. So you can lift the tailbone, bring the knees a little further apart, and bring the tailbone back down towards your heels. Extend the front of the body forward, creating a nice, long spine. Depending on the size of your belly, you might have to keep your tailbone further up off the ground and off your feet. Now you have a fresh flow of blood, oxygen, and chi moving right into the kidneys, into the lower back, and releasing the shoulders, which tend to get quite tight during pregnancy. This is calming for the brain as your third eye is pushed down into the mat. Bring your focus back to your breath. You can spend as much time in child's pose as you need. It's a deeply restorative pose, and I rest in it as often as possible. Now we'll move in to our last deep hip opener, frog pose. So gently walk your hands back up. Coming out of the pose, bring your knees a little further apart. It might be a bit uncomfortable, so you can push cushions or extra yoga mats under your knees. Inhale, lengthen up and out of your pelvis, extending your arms, extending the spine up towards the sky. And you can keep bringing your belly or your upper body more forward until you find a place of comfort. This might be too much. Feel free to come out of it and come back into child's pose. No need to stay here for very long. Come down, opening the heart in Anahatasana, open heart pose, keeping the tailbone up towards the sky, getting a nice stretch, curve in the back, and stretch in the front of the body. Now we're slowly going to come out of this, walking your hands up before laying down on your back. In the first position in this pose, shavasana, you can lay on your back, depending on how pregnant you are. If you feel any uncomfortable sensations, feels hard to breathe, you feel a lack of pressure or blood, roll over to the left-hand side. You can always bring bolsters and cushions in. The point of shavasana is to be as comfortable as possible. Shavasana is corpse pose, so you also want to maintain stillness. Let's take a moment now and scan the body. Once you have found a comfortable position on the floor, allow your eyes to close. If you prefer to keep them open, let your gaze soften and turn your attention inward. Bringing your attention to the belly, notice the sensations of breathing as your belly rises on the inhalation and falls on the exhalation. Acknowledge the presence of your baby in your belly. If you have difficulty finding the breath at the belly, you can bring your hand there for a few breaths to help you become more aware of those sensations. Now move your awareness to include the body as a whole. Noticing the points of contact where your weight presses against whatever surface you're laying on. Allow yourself to sink fully into the surface beneath you. Relax, allowing the floor to do the work of holding your body. If you're lying on your side, become aware of the points of contact of the leg, the hips, the side of the torso, the belly, the pressure on the side of your arm, shoulder, your head. Now, when you're ready, move your awareness upward from the belly, perhaps feeling the breath rising and falling at the chest. Notice the sensation of the air moving through your nostrils. As you shift your attention upward, allow awareness to come to rest at the top of your head, about 4 finger breaths back from the hairline at your forehead. This is the soft spot on your skull where you were born. It's the place where you will be able to feel a soft spot on your baby's head after he or she is born. Allow yourself to become aware of any sensations that might be present at this spot on your head, your crown chakra. If you don't feel any sensations, allow yourself the experience of a lack of sensation. Experience the sensation on the entire top of the head, moving down. Feel the forehead, the eyebrows, your eye sockets, cheekbones, your nose. Take a few breaths and let your jaw completely release. There's a strong connection between your jaw and your cervix. So take extra time throughout your pregnancy to release your jaw. Release the back of the neck and your ears, the front of the neck, your shoulders and arms. Release the whole back side of the body, torso, the front side of the torso. Release your hips, your pelvis, your thighs, your knees, your shins, and your feet. Take one deep inhale, and from the crown of the head, feel your awareness move all the way down, releasing and relaxing the entire body all the way to your feet. Feel free to stay here as long as you can. Whenever you're ready, you can come up to seated pose, the meditation pose we began with. And take a moment to give yourself some loving kindness for doing this practice, not only for yourself, but selflessly for your baby. Namaste.